Welcome to the Fresh Start Family Show. I'm your host, Wendy Snyder, powerful parenting educator and family life coach. And together we are going on a journey to help you expand your heart, learn new tools, and strengthen your family so you can build the family legacy of your dreams. Take a deep breath and get ready to be poured into with some fresh start inspiration. Let's do this. Hello, families, and welcome back to a new episode of the Fresh Start Family Show. We're so happy you're here with us. I'm Wendy, positive parenting educator and family life coach, and Terry is with me again today, co-host and dad extraordinaire. As you know, he is in so many of the Foundations course role plays and is making a huge appearance on the podcast this year. So welcome to the show, Terry.
Yeah, that was a few haircuts ago, but still the same guy. We're coming to you live from Oceanside Sanctuary today. So if you hear any kind of singing or anything in the background, it's a real live place that we're in. And it's a beautiful place.
It's a beautiful place. We've gotten into a rhythm of recording these. We're having so much fun recording these episodes as we kind of travel through all the chapters of the Fresh Start Your Family book that comes out in May 2026, officially available for pre-order, which is so exciting.
That's cool.
But we have gotten into this rhythm where we're recording before church every Sunday, and it's been so much fun. And there's a lot of action here the hour before church. So you might hear kids running around. Today we have like a really fun morning. What is today called again?
Jubilee.
So our pastors are dressed up. All the staff is dressed up as like kings and queens, and the kids are all coming in to like just fun dress up. And so you might hear a lot of action going on. So thanks for your grace on the sound. But we're excited to chat today about the topic of hitting the reset button on reactivity. This is in part 1 of the book. We're still looking in this section of the book on how we can really change our paradigm and start seeing what's happening in our home in a more accurate psychology-backed lens so we understand why our children misbehave, what's actually going on, our contribution to the dance. And then from that place, you become way more empowered to be able to actually create the changes that you want. So if you want your children to behave better, cooperate more easily, get better grades, sit still at the dinner table, clean up their crap. We're going to talk a lot today about cleaning up. Cleaning up meaning stuff, trash, belongings. Then you're going to want to be empowered to be able to actually see what's happening from an accurate lens, and then also be able to see your own contribution. So chapter 4 of the book is called Hitting the Reset Button on Reactivity. And this is where I teach readers about what I call the stop sign. So for many years, I called this the pause button. Now I really like the term the stop sign. I am a very kinesthetic physical person. And so the visual of a stop sign just really makes a lot of sense to me. And so in this chapter, we're teaching around how we can create a space between the stimulus and the response. And within that space is really our freedom to choose how we show up in parenting, the legacy we create, the impact we have on our children, not just their behavior, but actually their souls. So I'll start by just reading a little section of the book, and then Terry and I are going to kind of riff on this subject today. So from Fresh Start Your Family, Powerful Parenting to Restore Peace in the Home, Part 1, Chapter 4, Why Your Body Feels Like It's Under Attack. Your central nervous system is your body's communication network, made up of your brain, spinal cord, and nerves, working together to control what you think, feel, and do. But I want you to think of it as your body's personal security guard. It's constantly scanning for danger and deciding whether you're safe or need to protect yourself. When it senses a threat, real or imagined, it floods your body with alarm signals that make you want to fight, run away, or shut down completely. Here's the thing. Your nervous system often can't tell the difference between a bear chasing you and your toddler having a meltdown at the grocery store, or your teenager not picking up their wrappers and the dog eating it.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about that. That's not from the book. I just added that
later.
Both situations trigger the same internal alarm bells. When we grow up in homes where mistakes meant trouble, criticism, and/or harm, our nervous systems learn to treat imperfection as danger. as the ancient philosopher Aristotle is often credited with saying, "Give me a child until he is 7, and I will show you the man." Meaning the crucial formative years of early childhood significantly shape the adult a person will become. No wonder today, when our child spills milk, talks back, or says no, our body literally thinks we're under attack. Since most of us were raised with a parenting model that used some level of fear and emotional manipulation to coerce us into compliance, it's no surprise that our bodies are often on edge as adults. Even the most loving parents of past decades didn't realize the long-term impact this would have on developing nervous systems. Feeling rattled when kids misbehave is a result of a nervous system conditioned to believe danger is always lurking. So quick, act fast, lay the smack down, try to be an octopus with 8 arms, fix it, do it all, or else there's no time to think. Logically, we know a child who refuses to eat their veggies isn't the same as a tiger chasing us, but our nervous system reads it the same when it's been conditioned to respond to fear for 18 plus years. I'll just read one more section and then we'll chat. The beautiful opportunity for change. Here's probably the most important thing you need to know when starting fresh with your parenting. New equals danger to your conditioned nervous system. You will most likely have doubt and resistance flow in when you learn and go to implement new ways with your kids. Don't be surprised when your knee-jerk thoughts go to, what if this doesn't work? What if this makes my child think he can act like a maniac? What if I look weak? Then I go on to talk about Dr. Gabor Mate's work. I love this chapter. I also, in this chapter, talk about or tell the story, the infamous story that I wrote an article on that I swear to this day I think had this business for 18 years. I've never had such a strong response of like, thank you for writing this. But the article, I Left Bruises, I tell that whole story in this chapter of the night that I like really shamefully or regretfully reacted versus responded to Taryn's misbehavior when he was about 4 years old and was really sick and had steroid treatments and just wanted to go play with Nolan down the street. But I do love that story so much because I think it just helps parents understand that they're not crazy. We all struggle with reactivity in our own ways. And in this chapter, I also teach about the power of repair. And how important that is. It's way more important than perfection in our parenting. And I think we're at the point now, Terry, where you and I we're really able to see those rhythms, right? Like we're not perfect. We still lose our cool sometimes. But now we have this power of repair that feels like it's stronger than ever. And I feel like it is very connected to building your humility skills and your ability to take responsibility for where you didn't behave exactly like you would have wished you behaved once you cooled down, but to be able to do that without shame or blame, but just to be able to be like, hey, this went a little sideways. You didn't deserve that. And let's try again today to do it differently. Here's the lesson I was trying to teach with integrity. And the crazy thing is that I swear God, I think has a sense of humor because what a week to record this particular episode. I had really yesterday, like one of the biggest blow ups I've had with Taryn, our 15-year-old, God, for like a freaking decade, right? I don't think I've yelled at him that bad in a long time. And you kind of like had a flare up with him a few days ago. And then, oh my gosh. Yeah. And now a few days after, or I guess it's just a day after. And now that I've like cooled down and I'm more in that like stable place, which in this book, we really teach you want to make sure that you're teaching or trying to like, and influence your children's behavior once you're in like that neutral state. But once I'm now back in my neutral state, I can see why I was so triggered in that moment. So everyone, this is a full PSA too. Public service announcement. Oh my gosh, I literally got scammed yesterday. Thank God this caller did not get any of my money, but I am a 48, right, babe? 48 now.
Sure.
48, yeah. 48-year-old, extremely tech savvy. Like, oh my gosh, I had someone call me from my bank. It said that they were calling from my bank. And because it was his bank phone number, like I have my bank's phone number saved in my phone. And it was like, yeah, they're calling from your bank. And they were like, oh my gosh, we have someone's trying to charge your card in New York. Let's take care of it. Don't worry. We're going to help you pause it. And like, I completely fell for it. thank God I didn't give them a crazy amount of information before I realized, oh shit, this is this like scam. I need to call the bank right now. Long story short, like I have to go into the bank tomorrow. I have to reset like 13 accounts. Like it is such drama. And yesterday I processed so many emotions about humiliation, about freaking anger and like infuriating rage anger that like there are people in the world that do this. But right in the moment that I got this call and I was in the moment of like, someone is taking advantage of me. It started with the concept of someone is taking money from your account in New York. Someone is trying to withdraw money from your debit card. And right away I was like, looking back, I realized that I was like catastrophizing in that moment. I was like, my nervous system was on fire. I was like, it's the end of the world. They're going to take all my money. I have to deal with this quick. Then 10 minutes later, I realized, oh no, this is a scammer. Like the scammer, there's no one taking my money. This is the guy on the phone with me trying to take my money. And right in the middle, Taryn had left 2 muffin wrappers on the couch. And I had asked him like 10 minutes earlier, come clean up the wrappers because our black lab will literally eat anything, including like rocks if they have food on them. He's crazy. And I said, please come pick up your stuff. And he was like, yeah, later, which is such a theme that we're working on our little boy with right now. And I lost my shit because 3 minutes later, the dog came in, ate the wrappers, gobbled them down. I, of course, am like scared he's going to get sick and then we're going to have to deal with it. Long story short, I realized that in that moment, I was feeling hurt and like I was being taken advantage of on the highest level. I felt like I was being disrespected. I felt like things were being taken from me. Like I was like, I give so much to the world. Like, why is someone taking from me? And like, that was the feeling, but it was from the like scammer. And then it's like I radiated it onto my child in that moment.
Makes
Right. And I
sense.
can
Yeah.
see it so clearly now. But in that moment, I lost it on him, yelled at him, cursed at him, which is like really rare for me these days. But holy smokes. And I know you had a situation the day before where you lost it a little bit, not bad. I think your level of losing it is like a level 2. My level of losing it is like a level 9. You have different ways, I think, of reactivity. Yours over the years, tell me if you would agree. Your reactivity more is like fix it. Like if there's an argument, let's smooth it over, make sure like everyone's happy, like reactivity to not disappoint, do things for people. Or are you like reactivity in other areas have showed up for you?
I don't know. Come back to me on that one. I got to think because I'm trying to like, I don't know. I'm in your story right now, and I don't know what the equivalent of mine is right
Yeah.
there. I mean, I know you were saying I had a thing with him the day before, which was more of a tone thing that he was calling me out on. But what you're talking about, I think was like you did have like this like these alarm bells going off in you for like one thing, and then he coincided with that, with him not cleaning up his stuff. Then there was the dog and there was the danger. And so I don't know,
Yeah.
there was an element of danger, I think, in yours that I don't, um I don't know. It just feels it feels different
Yeah. Well, I
than
think
yeah.
that's the thing with reactivity that I want everyone to understand when they read this chapter. And there's a few chapters really on reactivity. There's a lot in this book on reactivity because it is the number one pain point for our parents in our community. Number one, we have polled so many times, thousands and thousands, and emotional reactivity or like feeling like you're being hijacked by your emotions is the thing. But for all of us, it is different. So many of us in the Fresh Start community, we have similar like reactivity like I do, right? Where you like were raised in the super autocratic home, like punishment, spanking, yelling, fighting, right? And then some people though were not. And their reactivity is more, it's either permissiveness, it's people pleasing, it's like like uncomfortableness with conflict. And that's where I think you are a little bit like you don't freak out much. Like you don't, even with the tone with Taryn, you're just not like, you get reactive every once in a blue moon, but it's very rare for you. Like you just are able to like keep it pretty darn cool. But you're fast to move I'll call it, when there's conflict and you are happiest when everyone's happy. That feels like that's faster for you. Like your knee
Sure.
jerk is to do something to fix it. Would that be an accurate way to say it?
Yeah, again, I'm trying to like figure out a time when I was like, um, I don't know, felt like I was in danger. I mean,
So Stella and I fighting. We were like fighting one
but I
day on the
think it
way
would have to
home.
be almost like I'm driving, I feel some danger or something's happening to me externally, and then there's something going on with you guys, and then I can see I would react with being very short, abrupt, um,
This is so
annoyed.
perfect.
But then in the home, if there's no danger, yeah, if there's no danger, I'm just trying to be like, okay, is this a big league thing? Is this a minor league thing? If this is a minor league thing, yeah, I'm trying to just like then say, okay, um, come on guys, like let's clean this up. Let's
Yeah.
move along. It's really not worth spending our moments of our day um sitting in that when
Yeah.
we could move on. When it's big leave danger stuff, I'm trying to like equate it to like what you
So
were dealing with yesterday.
let me
I feel like
clarify there.
I act differently.
And this is so good because I'm sure a lot of people hearing that and without reading the whole chapter yet might have similar questions. What I mean when I teach about the nervous system, meaning there's danger, it's not actual danger. So it's not like you driving a vehicle and you're scared you're going to wreck if a mom and a daughter are kind of bickering about a Lululemon
Yeah.
item. There's not actual, you're not
Mm.
there's no real danger. Like yesterday, yes, we were like, the dog might throw up, people might take money out of my bank account. Like that's actual, my body is like, whoa, there's real danger here. So it's a mix of like, my nervous system has a tendency to over catastrophize and like go, whoa, end of the world. It feels like the end of the world. It really does feel like a bear is chasing you. But for you, it's more, I think, and again, you have to be the one to be able to see this or not, but it's more just like it's a very subconscious uncomfortableness when, like the situation I'm talking about with Stella's birthday or her Christmas, I think it was birthday or Christmas, around like a Lululemon gift she wanted and it sold out. You were like really wanting us to like not fight, right? So like you were trying to come in and fix it, and we had like a big discussion, and it was really
Mm-hmm.
beautiful what came out of it. Because I was like, hey, it would be lovely if I could just continue to work it out with her because I feel really capable and we're good with that. And in the end, you were like, yeah, I totally see that. And that made sense. But in that moment, you were quick to want to fix. Would
Yeah.
that be accurate?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not like a like you were worried you're gonna get into a car accident or something. It's just more of a subconscious, like, phew, fast. This is not really like, it doesn't really feel safe to have this conflict or, something happening, so put humor on it or something to, like, squash it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes sense. I mean, I sometimes see something coming and I try to head it off.
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
Like
Like
it's like looking down the road a little bit and being like, "Ooh, okay, I don't want to end up there. Is there any way we can like head it off early instead of like getting there and being like, oh, how did we get in the like why are we arguing about this?" It just seemed
yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think, and the point is everybody on the planet has reactive patterns. Like there is not one of us that gets out of parenting or life without your own reactive patterns. It's just like the question is what is your most common go-to thing that either like the relationships in your life signal to you, oh, this feels kind of like, oh,
Yeah.
right. And so for me, I mean, that is very clear that it has been high. Like I just get really, really angry and like rage fills my body and it makes sense. I mean, I grew up with a brother who was like full blown Hawk mode by the time he was like 14. I'm pretty sure he was like on steroids, but by the time he was in high school and like literally basically, I put people in the hospital, right? Like, didn't he put, like, that guy Tony?
Yeah.
Like, it was bad. It was bad, and, like, people wouldn't even look at me because they knew I was Pete Edwards' sister. And like, I was just known as like, I don't know, it was just rampant in my family, this like kind of like explosive anger. And so it's just wild to me how long it takes to shake it. Cause here we are 15 years into this journey. And I'm still like, wow, okay. The reactivity is still there. And I hear this from my students. They often will say it feels like something is taking over your body. Like you cannot stop it.
So I think it's worth pausing here for a second because like you mentioned it before you read the passages out of the book,
Yeah.
but like I don't want to assume that everybody is familiar with this concept. And it's like I think it's so worth like really going over this whole idea of like stimulus and response and the space in between. If you're, immersed in whether you're a part of Wendy's community or you've been a part of this work, you probably know, but I think it's worth like talking about that because this is the concept. Like we're telling these stories, we're reading these passages, but this is the concept. If you have no takeaway other than this, is the stimulus is the child doing something that you're annoyed with. So the stimulus was the wrappers on the couch for Wendy. The response is what do you do about it? Now, for most people that aren't intentional about um, how they act, that's the distance between the stimulus and the response is going to be really short. And so there's going to be this, like, we often use this term knee jerk reaction. Like, what's your gut instinct? Like, where do you go to? So Wendy's acknowledging that, like, after like looking at situation after situation and everything, it's like her reaction, if there was no space in between there, is going to be a bit of like, it feels like an explosion and there might be yelling,
Cursing now that
cursing.
the kids are
For,
older.
for me, what she's highlighting is like, if there was no space in between the stimulus and the response, I'm just going to go into like, how can I clean this up so that we can move on?
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. There you go.
so for you guys, and there could be more than one, but like let's do like for the sake of like while you're sitting here listening to this,
Yeah.
get curious around what yours is because I think that's going to be the opportunity for you in all of this because once you shine a light on that there is a reaction, that reaction isn't exactly the way you want to show up, that there's often cleanup that could or should happen after the fact.
Yeah.
You want to do things better the next time and the next time. You actually don't want to just like live in this like respond, clean up or
Justification,
move on,
defense. Yeah.
or the people that don't clean it up afterwards, the relationship just suffers. So you can actually create a space in between the stimulus and the response that gives your response a much more in line with your who you are, your integrity, where you want to be. It also becomes a model for your kids or anyone that's watching what what you'd like to see in the world. So um, this is the concept. So
Yeah, I love that.
you just want to watch what your normal response might be, understand that there is a space in between the stimulus and the response, and that you can widen that space to make a different choice or to clean
Yeah.
up what that response is so that you can preserve and grow these relationships that you don't want to constantly be like, oh, there I did it again. I hit the kid,
Yeah.
or I yelled at my kid, or I kicked the dog, or whatever.
Yeah, or tried to
um,
fix, and then it create like
yeah,
people got offended and created an
yeah,
argument and all the things like, and I think that's so good to highlight that, babe. Thank you. And it's like it's also just coming from a conscious place, living your life from a conscious place versus an inherited belief system place. And so
love that.
that's what I think leads to this feeling of like you kind of feel like a victim in life when you're just repeating the generational cycles, but you're not really aware of them. And then you become very frustrated because you're like, what the hell? Like, I'm not getting what I want in life. And we go over this so deeply at Freedom to Be, which is our weekend healing program. We do it every year in San Diego. This year it's March 14th and 15th. So good. But we look at this in a deep capacity of like the ability to say, do I want to keep carrying forward with this kind of knee-jerk patterning? Or do I want to be the one who chooses to behave from my values and my belief systems? Um, and so I think just a huge component of this that we talk a lot about freedom to be in our first experience, for sure. I talk so much about it in the book too, is there has to be a raising of self-acceptance and compassion, and that is basically the opposite of shame. So, like, the continuous release of shame and Terry, it's been so fun with you and I to journey through the years of like our what does it look like for us to reduce and release and heal from shame? And we both have our own fun little backpacks of shame rocks that I think has continued to be exposed to us, that it is just so fun to have a partner that is like, yay, I found a place where I'm holding shame. And then it's like, I mean, I know we don't say it like that, but it really is good news every time you and I realize, oh, here's a place where I'm holding on to this, like it shows up here. So let's do some healing work. Let's do A, B, or C to like release that, because in order to do what we're saying, and so much of this work, I always say to my students in the beginning, but look, I'm 15 years in and I'm still looking at the situation yesterday from like a rear view mirror. And that is very effective to change behavior. So even though I totally lost my cool yesterday, it was like that happens. I think it's been 10 years since that happened with Taryn. I might be forgetting something, but like where I really lost it on him, I really lost it on Stella, like at Easter. So it's not like, but, but to realize that when you do this work, it happens less and less and less and less. And then when it happens, you don't beat yourself up. You don't think you're an idiot. And you get into a place where you stop defending yourself and saying, like, no, 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 that's not happening. That's not me. That's their fault. Like shame and blame, the more you let go of those and you just realize, oh, I have this pattern. Oh, my parents had this pattern. Isn't that interesting? Oh, I bet you my grandparents had the pattern. And then you get to decide, do I want to keep passing this pattern down to my children? Or do I want to do some work so I can change the patterning and then get different results in the relationship? And boy, what a journey. But call me crazy, but I love it. I love it.
All I can think of is if your brother was the Hulk, are you She-Hulk? I'm picturing you like turning green and like, I don't know what,
I
yeah.
I know I should be. I
Yeah.
should be, right? I mean, man, it is a weird feeling when it comes over you and you just feel like it is a weird feeling. I don't think you ever get that because you didn't grow up in a family with like ragey behavior, but like
I mean,
it's
I
weird.
definitely have the rage in me. I just don't know that, I don't know. I guess I'm just like, cause like you see that my knee jerk is to like clean up things. I guess I would
Mhm.
just be so scared of the cleanup that I know that if I pointed it at a loved one, that there'd be so much cleanup to involve that I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'm so like blocked to even like point that at any one of you guys.
Yeah.
I feel like I could point it at somebody else. Thankfully I don't, but it's not that it's not there. It's not that it doesn't well up. It's not that like I don't know. I also just like I try so hard not to like divide things into like stuff that like really really matters and like stuff that's annoying or just like kind of like roommate stuff or like whatever like things like it still like can like make you so upset, but I try to just divide them so that it
Yeah.
doesn't stick or it doesn't I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think it really is perfect though that we're so different because it is very clear when you look at the data. I mean, it's like I know there are stories within your family lineage where there was like maybe a shoe thrown at a head and that caused issues. Like there is little moments here and there, but in general, there's not a lot of stories of, like, full-blown expressions of anger through rage or physical, like,
No.
yelling, cursing, that kinda stuff. It's just not the way your family did things for the most part. Again, I know there's a few that there was some minor things that happened here and there. But in my family lineage, it just there was so much of it. Like,
Yeah.
there was so much of it. So
Well,
it
yeah, and
just
when that becomes normalized or like that's just the way it is, like you it's it becomes part of what's normal.
well, and it's your nervous system. That's the thing
Mhm.
that, like, is so important for everyone to understand is this isn't like a conscious choice that you're like, "Oh, I'm gonna grow up and, like, really my knee jerk is gonna be, like, fix it fast because it's unsafe for there to be, like, a problem at all." And I wasn't consciously like, "Oh, I'm gonna rage out and, like, squeeze my kid's bicep so hard it leaves fingerprint bruises," or, like, curse at like, it's not conscious. It is, like, our nervous systems absorb the temperature of our home for
Mhm.
the first decade or 2. It's like it's wild. So, like, whatever the tone or really, it's the tone was when there was conflict, misbehavior, problems. Like, what was modeled to us, but more than even what was modeled to us, what was the tone? And that is, like, our little nervous systems, especially, like, before the age of 7. That's where so many of the beliefs are set, and I always tell my students that don't let that worry you if you have kids and you're doing this work and you're like, "Oh my god, the first 7 years I did so many things, I said so many things," and that, like, set their belief systems. Sure, but kids have such plastic brains that you when you're actively in this work and, like, reading books like the Frustrate Your Family and in the Frustrate Experience and doing the work, like, you can help your children unlearn those belief systems and those patterns so fast. Like,
Yep.
that is why the repair is so important.
Oh, showing the repair like yesterday with Taryn was huge. That was the icing on the whole cake just to come back together, unpack all the things and all the reasons why um you reached a limit, went beyond that limit. You got a chance to like humbly like tell him that you didn't handle things the way that you wanted to, explain to him how you were feeling, not as an excuse, but just as like a full transparency. Like I think, giving your kids full transparency of like where you were at and what you were thinking when you were in that state of mind that, I think is important. And then being like, and it's not okay. That's not the way I want to handle myself. Is like, I think is, it's such the way to really not pass it down.
Yes. Yeah.
And also not expect perfection, and also to model to kids that like they can't expect perfect either, but the way to have a healthy relationship is when they showed up as something less than or just other than who they are, that they have a chance to like to really like come to the table and like make it right and just be a human being about it. Um and then that's kind of the way life works, and then you hold hands and you step forward. And
Well,
yeah. I'm curious about something. You were talking about the temperature of the home or the tone or whatever. Did you find that like for your mom and dad, was the temperature and the tone the same, or did they have different? Was it different for you?
so, um, so when I think of conflict, imperfection, um and, like, I put money in there too, because that's, like, a big memory for me is, like, my dad just held, like, a general, um again, the money thing comes up very fast, so it's, like, a sadness around money and, like, a bit of, like, just, ugh, like, I'd say critical and, but, like, a silent, judgy criticism and then a sadness. It was like this was the tone,
So where did
and
the
blame, and blame.
So where did the
And
like
then
the reactivity or the explosiveness come
so
from?
and then my mom, um, she was like, but and you know my parents so well, so it's like, and when we talk about our parents, you guys, I just want everyone to remember, this is a way to honor your family lineage, is to be able to honestly say aloud, "Hey, these were the real things that my family dealt with because they didn't get the ability to do this work." Right? The work that we do today wasn't as plentiful back then. Like, it was barely there, right? So whether it comes to financial resources or books or podcast or like it just wasn't there. They did the best that they could with the tools that they had at the time. And now we get to do something different. But looking at your history, your family lineage is honorable. It's not disrespectful. So my mom was more like very vocal, right? So it was like very like the shame on you, what's wrong with you? I would never do that.
Mm.
Like you're disgust like I don't remember the words you're disgusting, but it was just like this tone of like this is the end of the world. Both of them had a lot of like catastrophizing of like uh-oh danger, but there were in different ways. My dad was more silent, sad, and then he would have very explosive moments. So like I
Okay.
remember being chased around the wood stove with the wooden paddle. I remember the fights when I was a teenager and being so into such a physical altercation that I fell off a chair and like cut my leg really bad because he was trying to punish me by taking
Mm-hmm.
away my TV. So there was these reactive moments for sure. And then you add on the fact that my brother, I think, was a very strong-willed child. Nobody knew what to do with him in the 80s because nobody knew what to do with strong-willed kids. So they just punished him, spanked him, yelled at him, shamed him, took away their crap, and he flared up from a very young age. Like he would get in so much trouble and then I think he would just take it out on me.
Yeah.
So there was just like ragey reactivity, fighting, and then no conflict resolution. Zero. We never ever talked about stuff. There'd be huge blowups, and then I have no recollection. And we know how it is with kids. Like, I bet you Stella and Taryn will grow up one day and they'll tell a story, and we're like, that's bullshit. We had, and they'll be like, I don't remember that. So who knows? You give your parents so much grace, but I have zero memory of ever having a conversation
Yeah.
where my parents were like, hey, look, that went really sideways. I really lost my cool, or that must have been so scary for you to see your brother trying to take the keys to this car we had bought him and we weren't giving it to him yet. And like, I mean, it was so much drama, but no one ever talked about it. They just brushed it under a rug and we went on.
Yeah.
That was the tone. But it was not just the physicalness, because I know you didn't have that. It was like conflict or mistakes or imperfection felt like it was catastrophized, and then there was high levels of criticism.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that makes sense. So it's probably a combination of all of that then, really, um because I think like the instinct that we're talking about that like came up yesterday was like the vocal one. I know you have also sometimes had the instinct of like the withdrawal one
Yeah,
too, that
yeah.
is sometimes um you know
Oh,
the
that's a
in-
good one.
but
Yeah,
the
yeah.
intention is to, I don't want to explode, so I'm going to withdraw. So it's masked itself as like kind of like this healthy, I don't want to say something I'm going to regret, but I can see what you described in your dad as like it's an internalized
Yes.
critical sadness.
Yes, that is so good to point out. So I don't talk about that one as much. Like I don't even ever talk about my withdrawal patterns over the years in the book because the ragey stuff has been like my big
Well, it
focus.
takes center
It
stage, it's
does.
a little more
It's
fun
more
and festive.
Avengers. It's like it's more Avengery.
Yeah.
But my students in the Fresh Start experience, they hear a
Yeah.
lot of those stories, and you're right. Like that was a pattern even early when we were dating. If you think about it, like again, and the reason why we're just riffing on this today, families, is so you can understand it's all the same. There's a stimulus and there's a response. And a lot of us have knee jerk reactions. And then as you settle into this work and find joy in it, you start to discover your patterns, right? And then you get to change them if you choose to, but you cannot change them if you deny them or defend them or blame people. But you will find that people in your life start telling you, like your children, you're yelling at me. Like, why are you so aggressive? Like, whatever they say to you, listen, because the people in your life are trying to say things to you, and the more you listen. But back early in our dating, I remember I would withdraw for days. I mean, I must have been like 19 years old, and I would withdraw for days. And I remember like just being like, it was very catastrophizing. It was very like, this is the end of the world. Like, this is not going to work out. Like, but it was a lot of like anger. Like it was just internalized. And now that you say
Internalized, yeah.
that, I realize that, like, yes, I watched that modeled in my dad. He never had the ability to ever, ever, ever talk through stuff. So it was just a silent anger. Oh, I'm so happy you brought that up. But now, 15 years later, I will say that when I go into those situations, and I'm very honest with my community that I sometimes will have like a day or two where I'm just like, man, I hit a low, where I'm just like, oh, and what I am actively doing in those moments is very different than what it used to be. In those moments, I am actively, and by moments, I mean like sometimes it's a day that I just want to be alone. And I am actively walking myself off the ledge, I call it. I am actively doing the tools. I am doing the work. I am searching for the emotion. I am looking for my responsibility.
Yeah.
And that is literally what I'm doing now. And it is, I really feel like to my core, it is not like I wish I could just snap a finger. Oh my God, there's so many joyful kids down there. Do you hear them? I wish I could snap a finger and just be like, I'm good now. Like the conflict happened. Everyone took responsibility and like boom. And a lot of times I can, but sometimes it feels like it just cuts so deep that I just need to have some space.
Yeah.
And so I wish I was just like, boom, I'm back, but it's just not the reality. And so I
Well,
try
and
to
it's
cut
just going to
myself
be
some
the
grace.
trickier of the two because, like, the yelling one, it's like, it's obvious.
Hmm.
It's like, I just did that. I can listen to myself. I did that. It happened. Boom. The other one, I think, is when you internalize it, there are so many different, like, you're like, is this healthy internal? Am I healing? What's the voice in my head saying? Am I being critical in a way that's helping me or catastrophizing? Like, so I think it's definitely the trickier of the two, but it's interesting just to like, um, for everybody out there, you don't have to label it as like, I got that from my mom or I got that from my dad. It might not be even as cut and dry as that, but in this instance, it's like, is this kind of like the mom energy that I grew up with, or is this the dad energy that I'm like
Yeah.
reacting with, and then just catching yourself. I think this is like the again back to the stimulus response space in between. You just want to catch yourself so that um you can operate in the cleanest way you can. And again, it's not perfection, but you're trying to be a better version of yourself every day, every week. So, yeah.
Yeah. It just feels so good to have clean relationships where you are influencing people with integrity, where you are asking for what you want with empowerment instead of like passive aggressiveness or tones or yelling. Like it feels good at the end of the day to be clean,
Yeah.
right? Like I was, um, like funny examples. I'll just give the last funny one first. Right now, Taryn and I are like, not doing sugar for a month, and then I'm not doing caffeine for a month. And I can already feel that my body is like, it just feels so good to be clean of those things, even though it's like hard in the moments. I'm like full blown sugar detoxing for sure. And then I joked on the couch yesterday that like we've been in full vacation mode and like I like throw on sweatpants and like pigtails and a beanie. And there was like 2 days I didn't shower. And Stella was like, ew, like 18-year-olds. It's like, ew, mom, that's so gross. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So finally this morning I showered and it just feels so good to be clean, right? Like, and so it's kind of like a funny analogy of this work is some people may be like, oh my God, I don't want to do work and call out my own shit. But like, it actually feels so good when you are not blindly or subconsciously living your life in ways that are actually creating rifts and divides in your relationship. Like it just when you build awareness, it actually feels really good because
Yeah.
then you can do something about it if you choose.
If you choose, yeah.
We're not trying to live perfect lives. And that's the thing is like 15 years into this work, I had an explosive moment yesterday and now I get to go home. I already know the makeup I'm going to do for Taryn. I'm going to get him these little juices that he wants for his mini fridge.
Oh.
And I want to tell him what I just discovered and I shared with you on the way about that, what I shared here too. The deeper feeling I was having that morning of like, I feel hurt. I feel like I'm taking advantage of. And then how that like echoes into the behavior that we're seeing with him, which is so minor, but like when you are like, I'm just going to explain it to him on a deeper level so he really understands there's nothing wrong with him. It really wasn't even about him in that moment, that reactive behavior. And that's what I think kids just need to know. Because when we're growing up and we have parents who do things, like a lot of times we think it's because of us or we think we are bad. And that's why the family is struggling or a parent is sad or unhappy or there's danger in a relationship. And we just need our children to know it's not, you're not the problem.
Well,
You're just part of a human family.
and I think, there's multiple layers here of like things that get discussed in this moment. And yeah, there was also talking about the wrappers being left on the couch. So
Yes, we had firm
they
boundaries for
so
sure.
so there was a lot of talk of like why and how he is starting to have patterns and habits that like aren't working for the household. So we went through all that stuff too.
Yeah.
So we walked away that like today he's a lot less likely to leave those wrappers on the couch. So it wasn't just about this like I blew up and like
Yeah, it's so good, yeah.
so we used that time to just lay it all out on the table. Like I said, just full transparency, put it all out there and put it back together. Some of it involved the cleanup that we talked about, and some of it was also just like, hey, you're filling your time with a lot of distractions that are taking away from the basic things of this house, like don't leave trash on the couch. So
And then it got us an opportunity, video games, YouTube time, time to get a job and contribute to his first car that he'll get in October. Like there was massive beautiful, important conversations that needed to be had that
yeah.
we got to have yesterday. And we're one like we feel like but from that place, I think we were able to influence, right? Versus like when we were trying the passive aggressive tones and yelling, shaming,
And just thinking
cursing,
he's gonna like change because he sees how annoyed mom and dad are. Yeah.
or angry or
Right.
intimidated. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's ineffective. But like I think adding the humility piece, taking responsibility, and then doing it in a way. And I still wasn't even perfect in that little family meeting we had because I still was like feeling angry yesterday still because this is a big topic, right? When you have a 15-year-old, you want them to learn how to contribute. He doesn't quite have the same motivation as his sister. His sister is very strong-willed.
It's different.
She was motivated to work since she was like probably 14 years old. Obviously, like, the commitment it takes to
I mean,
become a
this is the
Division
kid that
One
sold
athlete.
rocks when she was
Yeah,
4. So
yeah.
yeah.
And so learning as a
Had her
parent
own
to
website in elementary school.
yeah, her own website, that's right. So learning to motivate and unconditionally love a kiddo that is not super motivated to work and not that motivated to clean up his own stuff is like so new for us. And we're navigating that and we're figuring it out. But I think that really is an important note to end on, Terry, to make sure people understand that you do what we're talking about, looking at your own reactive patterns. You do that in conjunction with setting the firm boundaries and limits.
Mm-hmm.
And that together is the magic sauce. Like that's where a kid actually wants to cooperate, pick up his own stuff, get a job so he can contribute to his first car. Like they end up wanting to because they actually feel connected and close to you because they're living with parents that are not just like, do what I say, but they're like, hey, this is important. This is why these values are going to be held firm in our home. And we are taking responsibility for behaving in ways that we regret. And we're going to change that tomorrow. Here's how we're changing. Here's the help that we're getting. Here's what we realized. Here's the emotions that we suppressed. Here's how we're going to do it different tomorrow. So,
That's the magic sauce, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah.
Can you smell what the Wendy is cooking?
It is magic sauce. Oh,
I
Terry, thank
love
you
it.
for being here. I feel like this one was like a more vulnerable, intimate discussion. And so I'm just so grateful that you always go there with me and have these awesome discussions because this is the real stuff. Like
It's the real stuff.
this is this is marriage. This is parenting, like, it is the hardest job you will ever have in your life, and it is the most rewarding job ever
It
because,
is.
man, it's fun to have kids at this age.
It is. Maybe we should call some of these kids in from the hallway and see what their parents' go-to reactions are and see if we can clean it up live.
That'd be funny,
That
babe.
might be for another episode.
Okay.
Okay.
Listeners, thanks for being here. And make sure you go pre order the book. We've got so many fun pre orders bonuses for you. So go check it out. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Love y'all. Thanks for showing up. That could be my catchphrase. Thanks for showing up.
That is good, babe. I like it.